Hello, Knockouts. Tanya TKO here, and welcome in, welcome in. This is part two. Pinky and I started chatting in the last video, and I know how it can get once Crystal and I start speaking. It can go on for 3 hours. So we decided to start a whole new broadcast. What'd you say?
I'm sorry. You appeared. I had the chat going on, and I forgot to mute it. My apologies.
Okay. Yeah, so welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be joined by Shera in just a few moments, but we decided to start a new broadcast because I did that last video where we were talking about Kevin Samuels being sued. And so two of the women who appeared on the broadcast with them saying that they did not have knowledge that they were going to be live, that they have actually filed suit against him. So that they're saying that is in the work. So while we were on that last broadcast, Crystalline from the Pink Pill called in and we started talking. And then Shera came into the comments. And so I asked the ladies if they wanted to start a new broadcast. And so here we are. The title of today's broadcast is about Black men. Do they want to be white men, or do they want to be Black women? Is the reason that they attack Black women because they secretly want to be white women, or do they want to be white men and they align themselves with white women to gain proximity to white men? And do they attack Black women because of this insane triangle? I'm curious about other women's points of view. So we got Shera in the house. Hey,
Yeah. You know what? It reminds me of do you remember the Archie comic books? The way you look right now, you look like the one with the dark hair who had the little kitten ear headbands. What was her name? Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, thank you. This is my New Year's Eve bow.
Oh, it's so cute.
How cute. Okay,
seeing you too. You're very beautiful as well.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So I'm ready to jump into the conversation. So ladies, for the people who don't know you, why don't you tell them your name, what your page is, and what your page is about?
I'm Shera7. My YouTube is SheraSeven1. It's mostly about leveling up and getting to the bag, dating for goals, hypergamy, things like that. Also, there's good information there as well. We talk about, manifesting, putting things in the right order and, prioritizing ourselves. So that's what the channel Shera7 is about.
Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I run a channel and have courses by the same name, The Pink Pill. The Pink Pill is a course. The theme of the channel is to give Black women the strategies, tactics, and tools they need to increase their social capital professionally, socially, and romantically. I'm also the author of Swirling, How to Date, Mate, and Relate, Mixing Race, Culture, and Creed. So a lot of what I talk about in the Pink Pill, like leveling up, is also my encouragement of Black women increasing their options by dating all men and judging them all the way that she was said, all on the same level. No sliding scale.
Not the sliding scale. Like you get a discount because your income is this, no. I feel you on that. And I am Tanya TKO. I'm a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I help you learn how to love yourselves and one another. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a certified life coach with a specialty in relationship coaching. I am the author of the book of affirmations, Self-Love. And this book helps you rewrite your subconscious programming. It's a workbook where you just rewrite the affirmations right before you go to bed, and it helps rewire your whole entire makeup and tunes you in for self-love. So I'm the author of this book, as well as several guided hypnotherapeutic MP3s on my website, TanyaTKO.com. And they help you learn how to forgive, release the past, get rid of stress, and just level up from the inside and do those things. So welcome in, ladies. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to be with you. You both in one place.
I'm so excited. Shera, I'm a fan. I've been watching you for a long time.
I'm glad to be here with both of y'all too. And yeah, we got to collab soon. If you want to do that as well.
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yes, absolutely. So first question on the docket. Why do Black men seem to have all of this smoke for Black women, but never really have that energy to pull their testicular matter over to white men or even other Black men? Why? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, who are you talking to?
We're all here together. Anybody who wants to answer, jump in.
What I really feel is that I don't think many Black men have the tools or the knowledge in order to get the success that they want. And instead of seeking it out and searching for it, it's, you have a choice. And I believe that sometimes they just take the other route and just, try to tear down anyone that is trying to tell them, well, you should do better, or you need to do this or that, because they haven't armed themselves with the right tools, or they're just being lazy and don't want to, put as much effort into bettering themselves. They're playing video games all day, just being dusty. And instead of taking, responsibility, they would rather just blame someone else.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have my opinion. I think that there's a race to avoid being at the very bottom. So you know how they say there's a model minority, and so you have this group of people who want to be the model minority, wanting to feel better, knowing that they don't have the majority status, but they are the models. I feel like there's almost a model minority competition between Black men and Black women, in that they are trying to fight to keep from being at the very bottom. And you see that in the language. I'm going to use an example of this. So years back, there was a study by OkCupid, and this particular study was unfortunate because it reported that Black women were the least likely women to be messaged there. I mean, that sense, I believe, has changed. Clearly, we've seen the increases of interracial relationships and marriages since then. But all over social media, there were Black men who said, "Okay, Cupid, see, they don't want y'all. They don't want y'all. Nobody wants y'all." And they didn't, and they left out the fact that Black men were the least likely to be chosen. They focused on our ranking and ignored theirs.
So in the survey, did it say that Black men were the least likely to be chosen among men or among anyone?
Yes.
Okay.
From what I understand, yes.
Okay.
And if it wasn't least, it was like right there at the bottom. And there was no introspection over, well, why are we, the least? What's going on with us? It was all the smoke for the Black woman. I just feel like what I see online is that any opportunity to humiliate Black women is done not by racist white men, not by racist Asian men, not by racist Hispanic men. It's done by Black men. Any bad news that pertains to Black women becomes a headline here on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I'll give my perspective on why I think Black men have all of the smoke for Black women and not for white men or even for other Black men. And I think some of the people, there was a person in the comment who said, it's easier to pick on women. I personally think it has to do with lack of personal empowerment. that they themselves feel so low and so self-hating on the inside, that they themselves have no power, that the easiest target is a person less powerful than they are. So they lash out on women, they also lash out on children, and this is what a disempowered person does. So I think that even in the Black community, there are different hierarchies of Black men and how it is that they feel in terms of their own personal power. Like a man who feels empowered, like there are a lot of men online who are like, oh, this rich man is going to beat you and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm actually more afraid of a poor man beating me, because that poor man is looking for ways to jockey for his masculinity. Like I did a live show with a male who was saying that he, in his opinion, that he feels that Black women are more masculine than men. And there has to be something very wrong with a man that you sit there with the hair growing out of your face and at least one testicle hanging down below, and yet you see a woman in all of her softness and you interpret that as being more feminine than you. And then you make this point about white men not being the ones who attempt to humiliate. I think that with white men and their history of conquering across the world, the slaughtering that they have done of Black people, the humiliation that they have done of both Black men and women for hundreds of years. I feel that now they get the opportunity to step back with their hands smelling like roses, but Black men are really only picking up where the hate and despising of white men left off and now has transformed. This is just my own personal opinion. This is how I feel from what it is that I have seen historically. Like the white man really doesn't have to keep his foot on our neck any longer, because there's been a history of this foot on the neck, and now Black men have picked it up and have now, we are where it is that we are. There's no, listen, we're in a patriarchy and we're in the white man's patriarchy, and there's levels to how it is that we got here to where it is that we are today. And there's a reason why Black men desire white women. And the only thing that we can do is really look at reality and have people look at themselves and where it is that they are and self-correct and do the things that they need to do. What are your thoughts on that?
Me?
Anybody?
Well, I think that, in terms of Black men seeking out white women, especially when they've reached a level of success, has to do with what I talked about before, status exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So think about, this goes back to, the olden days when you had this impoverished aristocratic family but had no money, and then you had this upstart merchant who had the money. The merchant wanted to elevate his name, and the aristocrats were broke. And so they say, hey, give us your money, we'll give you our name, and we're going, we'll elevate together. So there's a status exchange. So when it comes to, and this is not just for Black men, but people do this across the board. So if one person feels like they are at a lower class racially, if they've achieved a certain level of financial and professional success, what they may desire to do, because they want to have an elevated status overall, is they cannot become white men, but they can marry his daughter, yes, and then have proximity to that whiteness. And they will target women who may not have the level of financial success and professional success, and she will be attracted to the wealth and status of that person, and so they'll merge together. She gets taken care of and pampered because he's wealthier, and he gets the proximity to her whiteness.
Okay, all right, I can see that. Shera?
Oh, I believe a lot of the reason that...
Hold on. Ain't nobody wearing white women's hair. Name one person who has ever gotten hair off of a European head besides maybe other European cancer patients. The hair is not coming from Europe, baby. No, stop this.
Coming from India.
Yes.
It's coming from India, Brazil, Asia. Stop this madness right now. Can anybody name any person who's buying European hair?
Right.
They just diet.
Mhm.
But believe me, I know I got a bunch of wigs.
Girl, me too. I'm trying to be like you. I just like my kinky stuff. You know, I like to, you know, I'm going for the more Shaka Khan.
Yeah, you know, they send me some of those type of wigs, but they don't look right on me. Or
Well, send them to me, girl.
all right. So the point I was trying to make was, I think some Black men, because I don't ever say all, but some Black men, they want to be successful, and if they don't know how to get the success, they figure getting next to someone successful or that seems successful is going to be close enough. And like I said, instead of arming themselves with the right tools and the information, they seem to want to just get next to someone instead of, or blame someone else instead of just doing the work. And there are no shortcuts. If people want to be successful, you know, they have to put in that, you know, that work to get that information. And I think people would rather smoke weed, you know, play video games and do whatever instead of reading a book or, you know, doing some Google searches and doing some research on how to get to the next level. I think people that don't want to level up the correct way, Dusty's included, men included, Black men included, women included, everybody, they don't want to do it the correct way, so they try to find shortcuts. And I think that's where all the problems start, because in this day and age, you can get paid just, you know, so many ways. We have the internet, and people just don't want to do that work. They're lazy and they don't want to do any research, and they want to stay high and take the easiest route. Now, some men who are educated and da 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 da, they don't want to take the route of looking unsuccessful if they pair up with, you know, someone else that maybe comes from an unsuccessful family, and fear them embarrassing them or having to pay some of their debt, or, you know, always helping them out when the eviction notice is hit. So a lot of times it has to do with your family, you know. They don't want that headache. So it's very important that if you want to level up as a woman or as a man, that you don't bring a lot of that baggage with you when you present yourself as, you know, available or single. You have to, you know, you have to let people know, well, we don't do that over here. I'm sorry. Good luck to you. GoFundMe page is up. Here's a book. Here's a website that's going to help you get your financial affairs in order. But, you know, if you give them that, you know how they say, give a man, you know, a fish and he eats for a day, or teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. I truly believe that. And whatever mental issues they have, or whatever mental things they're going through, and why they want to compete with Black women, it's because they don't have the tools, or they're too lazy to use them.
Okay. Do we have oppressive forces that are holding people back in this country?
Yes, it's called laziness.
Well, Shera, I gotta agree too, because I was just saying this to Tanya on the previous broadcast. You see Black men from the Caribbean, from, you know, from various African countries, come over to the United States and become tremendously successful. And it sort of debunks the argument that your Blackness is holding you back. There's something that, and Tanya, you said something that was really poignant. You said, yeah, when they come from other countries, they can come here. There's something about America that causes this. And what I think it is something called locus of control. So if you have an external locus of control, it means
I'm sorry, locus?
Locus, LOCUS, locus of control.
Okay.
And if you have we'll start with the positive. If you have an internal locus of control, you believe that you influence the world around you. You believe that you have some impact. You believe that your smarts, your willpower, your ambition, your creativity, your talent impact the world that you live in. When you have an external locus of control, you believe that the world happens to you and that you are powerless for all of the elements that happen outside of you, and that you have no control and impact over your world. So what I believe is that while it was well-meaning to talk about racism and white supremacy and things like that, I think that the narration got to the point where some people, not all, some people believe, well, we live in a racist society and white supremacy, so why bother? Why bother? Why do the work? There's no matter what I do, it's, I'm never going to achieve a level of success because white supremacy, because of racism. And what I think inherently, when you have immigrants who come to this country, they believe inherently that there's an internal locus of control. I'm not saying they are representatives of their entire country, but I'm saying what it takes to leave a country because it's not working for you. The bravery, the grit, the talent, the drive that it takes to have to make those sacrifices to do that. They inherently believe that they can impact the world, that what they do can impact the world around them. They don't feel powerless.
Listen, I hear what you're saying. Thank you for the shout out on my statement earlier. I'll say this, right? Because I am bicultural. My father is Caribbean. My mother was American. And so I was raised in a household where I got a chance to see how my family members behaved on either side of my tree. Right. So there was my mother's family that was born in the rural South, who had come directly through, who's ADOS, who had come directly through the trafficking chain that brought them here to the Americas. And there's my father, who is Caribbean and whose family had been brought through the trafficking trade that brought them to the Caribbean. The first thing I want to say is when people come here from another country, there are specific types of people that already have money, that already have the ability to get visas, that already have the abilities to think upwardly mobile. Because I just, last year I was in Nigeria and in Ghana, and I got a chance to see the people on the ground who do not leave. So one, the people who are leaving already have an advantage over the typical person that does not leave. Right? They already have some sort of privilege. They already have somebody who has connections in the United States. They have money, they have places to stay, etc. Right? Not only that, you're talking about people who are leaving a country where they do not feel that they can have an effect on the country that they're leaving. So they leave that country to have an effect somewhere else. And they come in with a different mindset. They were not born into the brine. There is something about the cruelty and the savagery of these barbarians that existed in this country and the hundreds of years of terror and terrorism, white domestic terrorism that existed in this country that has made people feel deflated, unable to effect control on their environment and those sorts of things, because I saw the mentality of my uncles on one side and the mentality of my uncles on the other side, who also went through the slave trade, but they went through the slave trade in the Caribbean, and they were not in a majority white society. Here, being in this majority white society, it has done something to people. There is something bad in the buttermilk in this country that has left people feeling debilitated and unable. And these are invisible chains. These are invisible shackles that are keeping people stuck and stagnant. And I just want people to wake up. and see,
Yeah.
listen, there are ways to be able to become successful even in this God, I don't want to call it a God-forsaken land, but there are ways to become successful in the United States, but it really takes something from the inside. And a lot of the people in the Americas, in the United States of America, just are debilitated. A lot of the Black people here, something has gone wrong here. This is why Black women are suffering at higher rates from obesity, heart disease, fibroids on this land. What is it about the stressors on this land, the poisons on this land, the white supremacy on this land that is having this effect on us? And what is it that we can do, even being born in the brine, to be able to shift? And my issue mainly is not trying to say, because there was somebody in the comments that said that there's no such thing as white supremacy, and that's a goddamn lie. There is white supremacy.
There is.
And it's real.
And I'm the girl who swirls, and I can say that there is.
Exactly. And so,
a lot of that is programmed into the DNA, and it's hard to deprogram that DNA. So, there are a lot of self-help options for people that seek it out to deprogram themselves. And, I don't know if you guys saw my video that I did with Billy Carson last night. He's actually doing a workshop to help deprogram some of that DNA from, oppression, white supremacy, and, generations of slavery that's still in our DNA. And he's doing like a 6-hour long workshop, which is like, posted on my stuff. But this is what he's focusing on, the solution to help. He's a successful Black man, and he doesn't want to be, successful, but none of the other Black men are successful. So he's trying to get people and the knowledge to people and things like that. And I think that will help a lot once people start recognizing they do have an issue and look for the solution instead of denying themselves or saying I don't have an issue or looking for other people to blame. They have to take the responsibility for self. And I think self-love, a lot of us and a lot of them, a lot of Black men, they don't love themselves and they don't know how to. So they definitely can't love a woman. And then Black women not love themselves because they feel like, well, if my own men don't love me, then why should I love me? So I think it all starts from within, and we have to love ourselves. Just take, get a piece of paper out and write down all the things about yourself that you value, that's good, that's, worthy. And just start doing that on a daily basis. And I think that's where it starts. It doesn't start in pointing fingers or anything like that, and we can address the problems all day, but until you start working on that solution, talk and talk. But when action starts coming, that's when you get the results. Like I talked about Dusties on my videos. I get trolls all the time, but a former Dusty,
I saw that,
DM'd me and he said, I just want to thank you for, telling us Dusties about ourselves and to get out of the comments and go look for videos on how to trade in the stock market or start a business. And that's exactly what he went to go do. And he said he started off in 2020 with $5,000 in his account, and he's ending it with $205,000.
That's amazing.
He said thank you, and he sent me a nice cash app. And it's just they don't have the tools, or they don't think to research. A lot of people's minds are inside of a box, and I think it's, as a woman, as the creative side of the duo, it's our job to be creative and give ideas on how to do things outside the box. And if we just become their inspiration, which we should be, we are their inspiration. If they're not inspired by us, then they look for inspiration elsewhere. So we have to be very inspiring in order to get anyone to listen. And I think that's what it's all about. You have to be inspirational. Period. Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay. So I'm showing your screenshot here of the person who wrote to you and said that they were a former Dusty. And so I was talking about this in my video earlier. And so you want to read it, Shera?
Yeah, I posted a meme that said, if 2020 did not bring out the hustle in you, then nothing will. And so he DM'd me. He said, it brought it out of me. And I want to thank you for being so honest about Dusty's. 2020 was the year I left Dusty status for good. Thank you for the inspiration. And so on the other split screen part, he says that he started out with 5.7 thousand in his account 3 weeks ago. And this is what he has now.
Wait,
Wow.
3 weeks ago?
Okay, we need to, Shera, can you have him on your show?
Yeah,
so he can tell us what he is doing? Because I want to hear.
Yeah, if I could turn 5,000 into 200 in 3 weeks.
I'll do it. I got it today. Let's go.
I got 3 times that today. I'm ready for my 600K.
So that was just the inspiration someone needed. And I try not to bash. And if I do, it's all in fun and games, like with humor, and I don't try to bash people unless they're really, really trying to come for me, but I'll do it with humor. And like, I won't block people because I know they're really there to learn. Like, I see the underlying, need. And so if they didn't want us, if they didn't want to be around us, they wouldn't frequent our comments. It's reverse psychology. And I think that most men want to be around and really want to be with you. And they're trying to find the inspiration. And this is what it inspires them. Like, if you're not constantly bashing, if you're constantly, joking around or, giving positive, solutions that they may have not thought of. And there's nothing comes from focusing on a problem unless you're taking action on the solution.
Right.
Well, you know what, Shera, I just want to ask because on your channel, you talk to women about leveling up.
Mm-hmm.
And do you teach men how to make money, or did he just hear women talking about not wanting broke men and that being the inspiration that he needed to just not be broke?
All of the above. We talk about broke men. We talk about how, we don't care if you want a woman like, a leveled up woman, you got to have this much money, or, you got to be able to do this, and that for her. And, there are ways to go get it. And then, a lot of Dusties would come in and troll, and we would get on them about, why aren't you at work? Looking up videos on how to trade in the stock market or start a business, or where's your side hustle? You're in here, y'all, da da da. So it kind of, and then we laugh at them, but then they really take it seriously because it's more of a place where they can come and laugh and troll. And by doing that, we can see their thoughts. It's kind of like speaking to someone and getting them to spill their guts with, without, dismissing them. You can see exactly where their mind is, how they feel about themselves, their insecurities. And when I see that in the comments, I take it and I turn it around and I say, well, y'all, this guy started off dusty and now he's doing A, B, and C. So, it's just a matter of if you want it or not, And so I said, if women are doing it and we're so much worse than y'all, then what does that say about you guys? And so and I kind of toy with them. And I think the interaction is what they miss. They want that interaction. They want to be told. They want the inspiration, but sometimes they're ashamed to ask. And so they come in as trolls. Just like on the playground, when the little boy likes you, they'll come in and pick at you.
Mm-hmm.
You give them that attention. But, instead of beating them up, they like you. They want a chance. They want to exchange information with you. So
that's our first indoctrination into perceiving abuse as care.
Huh? Yeah. Well, they kind of like it a little bit. They like to be told about themselves because it's almost like, okay, well, if you want to do this, if you want to date me, then you know what you got to do.
Yeah, but how long are we going to make excuses for abusive men and boys using abuse as a way to show that they have interest in you?
Well, verbal abuse, because that's the only way I can get that online. So the verbal abuse, I combat it with, my little witty, comebacks, because, and then that's when they stop because they can't, you know. And there are women out there that can't do that as well as some other women, or as well as I can, but you just have to own your own power. You know, if you're a goddess and you walk around in goddess status, you're teaching them how to walk around in God status, you know, just by your example. We don't have to call them kings and all that kind of stuff. We just have to act like goddesses, and they will understand that they have to act like gods, as far as how they are, you know, seeing themselves. If we think this highly of ourselves, then they should too. And
Okay. Well, you know what? Give me an example of somebody who, the worst trolling that you've seen on your channel, and how you were able to flip that around into having this person see the God in them.
The worst troll, well, I don't remember because I've been on here for a long time. I don't say forever, but been on here a long time. But I will say at least 10 to 15 of the former Dusty trolls are now getting money.
Yeah, but give us an example so that we can see how to have one of the trolls elevate themselves into God status.
Well, they just understand that maybe they never knew that why they can't keep a relationship, or why they can't get the type of woman they actually want, because it's their money. You know, maybe it's not the Black woman, maybe it's his money. You know?
Well, give us an example of something someone has said and you saw that as an opportunity for this person to rise into.
Okay. They said something like, "Oh, well, you need to accept less and do more work and go out there and bring in the money, and you know, not try to live this nice lifestyle. You need to be able to survive on like 50,000 a year." Da 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 da. And I said, well, then I said, well, who wants to live in a world like that? And who's going to respect you and want to sleep with you at rent time when you holding out your hand? You know, that's not a turn on, and you will never get the respect in your household. Whenever you want to make a decision, you have to ask someone else. Whenever you want to, you know, say something, the woman will remind you, you don't pay for everything. This is my house. You know, I painted the picture of how they will be emasculated if they choose not to be successful. I painted the picture.
Got you.
In detail.
All right, Chris, jump in here.
Well, so I was just taking some notes, and I will agree. I have to agree with Shera that I know that Shera gets trolled a lot. I mean, you know, there are hordes of them, and she mentioned 10 or 15 that actually did turn things around, but we have to not negate the power of the men who are invested in staying where they are and confirming that position by making sure that you stay there too. That it is easier to pull down than to build up. And so I think that Black women have done a hell of a job in their efforts to try to build Black men up and meet them where they are. And the rewards have been sketchy.
That's why you don't build them up.
Yeah. But see, so Tanya, do you have the screenshot that I sent you? Can you put that up?
Okay.
Because this is an example of what I'm saying.
Give me 1 second. I just have to get over to you. Please continue talking while I look for this.
Yeah, so the thing is that there are people. We just did a study on this, and it's called. We were talking about self-verification, that people seek out others who will verify how they feel about themselves, and so, you know, that goes for anybody. If you feel good about yourself, you're going to seek out people, communications that will reinforce that. If you feel badly about yourself, if you feel that you are defeated, if you feel angry, if you feel like the world is against you, you are going to seek people and messages that confirm that for you. But what happens is sometimes the commitment to hold on to certain beliefs will be so strong that they will work at trying to maintain it by destroying the person that is making them feel uncomfortable or making them second guess their philosophy and their mindset. So it is called cognitive dissonance. So you have somebody who doesn't think the way that you do. You got three choices. You can ignore that person, or you can say that it's a one-off, or the third thing is that you are going to work to try to disprove that person, those persons, and by any means necessary. And so what we see, and what I've seen with myself, what I've seen with Shera, what I've seen with Tanya, is that there are people, particularly men and some women, who will work to try to disprove or destroy the counter argument because it makes them feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so instead of rising to it,
I have the screenshot when you're ready.
They will try to pull you down with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to show your screenshot. I just want to make a quick statement. And you know what? And Shera, I would love to pick your brain because I want to hear more about your point of view and see, see the meat and the bones in it, right? There was a guy that I did a live broadcast with, right? And there was a person who contacted me who wanted to broadcast with me, right? And I don't have the time to respond to everybody. And also I like to just sit back and just observe. And then one of the things that I saw was there was a way that was made for someone to come forward and create some content saying some disparaging things about me, I guess in a way of getting my attention, right? And me personally, I'm doing so much, working on so much and making so many moves that I just don't have the capacity to allow people near me who are fugazi. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't reward bad behavior with my attention. You know what I mean? I shun it away from me, and I don't feed it, and I don't let it grow near me because my inner circle is so precious. My time is so precious, so I would love, so I that's just the way that I do it. I can't do it. I just don't have it in me to utter some people's names, to create content about. So I just don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to collaborate with people that I don't resonate with. I just don't have it in me. So like, if you see somebody in my video, like you two ladies, I love you ladies. And that's why you're in my videos. I don't give space. Oh, thank you. I don't give space and ear to penis toters or womb holders who just come with that low vibrational energy. I don't do it. So I want to hear more from you, Shera. I want to grow and learn different things. So let me put up this screenshot that Crystalline was talking about. So there we have it. It's on the screen, Chris.
I don't see it yet. Oh, there it goes. And there's a little delay. So this is an example of what I'm talking about. The delight in seeing the misfortune of Black women. So Morehouse Man, and I'm going to tell you why I'm very, very offended that is his tag name, says once state eviction moratorium ends, politicians stated they expect an increase in homelessness for Black women. Hurry up and use that WAP for the white man. And I responded with, that's what you're hoping for. You are a disgrace to Morehouse. They should sue you for attaching their good name to trash. Now, my brother graduated from Morehouse, so I am extremely offended that this man is using these insignia of Morehouse.
Yeah.
But this encapsulates what I see a lot on YouTube, the delighting in the misery or possible misery of Black women, because you don't want to rise up. You want them to be below you. And there is this weird competition with the kind of men who write that kind of stuff on my channel. And maybe we'll do whole videos about it. I remember one particular content creator was dancing naked around the fire with his folks because Trump got elected, because he said he's going to take the welfare away, and everybody's going to be able to enjoy blowjobs for $5 because Black women are going to be so broke.
Oh,
and these
wow.
are Black men. And so I'm just saying, like, what is to me, when you inherently wish the destruction and misery of your counterpart, of the woman who looks like you, Black women, you can't be hanging around for that.
So I want to get Shera's point of view on it, because Shera's, and she's smirking too. So Shera, let's hear. I want to hear. So you see a comment like that, what goes through your mind? How do you interpret that?
First of all, if their name is Morehouse Man 97, we don't know if he really graduated. We don't know why his name is that. Maybe he applied, didn't get in. Maybe he got kicked out. So that's a red flag right there. The second thing is, when he's talking about Black women, that to me just means, okay, well, you say that the politicians are saying Black women are going to be evicted, so they better give the white man that walk or whatever. Here's my thing. That's what a lot of people are already doing, and they're not in the positions to be evicted because they've already been doing that. So if those women who are about to be evicted really were about that life, they wouldn't be in that position. So obviously the women who are about to be evicted are not trying to date white men. They're not trying to switch over to the, to swirl or whatnot. So that was a stupid statement within itself. To me, it just showed that he was not solution oriented or upset about the whole thing, but that his solution was to sleep with white men. So he's basically pushing interracial relationships with Black women and white men without even realizing it. And he's just, it just backfired on him, basically.
Well, I mean, he should be worried because it's these women who are going to get evicted and all these men sleeping on their couch. They should be scared because at least those women got the leads. They should be scared. They should be, instead of coming here insulting, they should be trying to figure out how to keep their bread basket from getting evicted. That's what he needs to do.
I don't believe what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, but the Dusty got to go back to grandma's house.
I know. They sleeping on somebody's couch.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I think that they just wanted something slick to say because they don't have a solution for it. And they just wanted to rub something in someone's face. I would never get offended by stupidity like that because it's so easy, especially as a woman. It's so easy to get something. It's easier for a woman to get something than it is for a man. So I don't think people are really worried about that. Someone will take in a woman before they take in a grown man, So,
oh, wow. You know what? Listen to this comment that Unbothered Queen put up. She said, the statement is kind of degrading to Black men. He's basically saying that Black men do not have the resources to assist Black women when they are financially struggling.
Nor the desire. And that's the point. They have no desire because they're competing with us. That is a competitive statement. You're going to get evicted. Nah, 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 nah. Like no care, no sense of protection, no sense of worry. That's the issue that I have with this.
And that's so true. I do agree with that. But look at when they get a large sum of money, now they want to come and help. And now they want to come and
who do they want to come and help?
Whoever they feel like they want to help. And sometimes
is it the Black woman?
Sometimes it is because they secretly seek our approval. They secretly seek the approval. They may not broadcast it, but they in them DMs, they're, anonymous. They're doing their, they're going through other ways to do it, but they secretly want They secretly want the approval because a lot of them don't feel good about themselves deep down inside until they have our approval. That's why they keep trying to get our attention.
But
And
here's the thing, a lot of Black women online with the king and yes, king, and all of the fake approval for doing nothing, this whole like Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. It's like,
they don't count
it's
that
not
for me.
real. And it's like, we need to stop rewarding them
That's
for
not
just waking up in the morning. And so, no, I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
I know what you're saying, do it for real, for real. But
Right.
then you have other women who are saying, just because you woke up and breathed another breath this morning, you're my king. And I think that sets the bar of expectation so low
And
that
that's where we come in and call them, we put them in their place and saying, you can't congratulate somebody for waking up in the morning. That's not,
right.
that's some pick me stuff, and so that's where we come in. That's our job. Like, if we don't know this, but we're playing a huge role in shaping the next generation or
Absolutely.
the future, because we're saying it's not okay just to wake up in the morning and be called a king. You got to get up, you got to get out and do something to even be considered a peasant.
And the thing is that the men resent you because they know that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and that you are just rewarding them for just being able to tie their shoes. Like,
Right.
they see what other men are doing. They see what other men's women expect of them. They see that.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence because I hear what both of you ladies are saying, and I'm trying to form my opinion. I'm still open to shifting my opinion. Um the way I see it, right? I think that the evidence may speak something very different. I think that partner abandonment of Black women happened and is happening. And according to the Census Bureau, the Black men who make the most money are the ones who are most likely to interracially marry. So it's like, when they do get money, are they bringing the money back into the Black community? Are they taking care of all of these children that are created out there? Are they making honest women of Black women? Are they continuing this toxic tirade and running off, bringing their problems to other women's communities? They were like, first they were like, oh, the white woman is better. Then they scattered a bunch of baby mamas over there. Then they said, oh, Asian women are better. And they scattered a bunch of baby mamas over there. And so it's like, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I don't know.
I think as women, we shouldn't be allowing anyone to make us baby mamas. That's number one. We have to take responsibilities as well. Um, that's my belief. If you're going to let somebody turn you into a baby mama, you have to take responsibility for that. So many women will say no thank you, or nope, that's not going to happen today. Come back when you have this much money in your bank account. And that's what we need to hold them responsible for. We got to have higher standards and not be so desperate. And like I said before, a lot of women are just desperate because they don't want to put in work. They just want to have a man just to say they got a man. Have you seen that show about the women, dating men getting out of prison?
No, there's a show.
Yeah, they're
I've
dating
seen
men
that.
out of
Oh
prison.
God.
They get out, they come and live with them or start dating them and or marry them or whatever. This women out there are so desperate because instead of putting the work into themselves and leveling up and mentally leveling up and getting rid of that, low self-esteem and learning how to love themselves, that's where Tanya comes in. Learning how to love themselves, they just go and take whatever, and so it starts with us as well. We have to stop doing that because it's kind of like digging in the garbage can for food when all you got to do is go and put on the right attire, get the right mental attitude, get the right confidence to go in that, restaurant and sit down and eat. But instead, you'd rather go through a drive through or dig through the trash. So it's up to us. We have that power, and we will always have that power. Our power as women can change the world. And, if we can change the world, the man, the Black man will have to follow suit if we truly are above and we are leading. That's the only way that it's going to happen. If you take control, I don't want to see nobody in Walmart with a bonnet on and some pajamas. I don't want to see people, looking crazy in public. If you look crazy and you're an embarrassment to be seen with, don't nobody want to be seen with you. Period.
Well, and so there's a few different layers, right? I'm going to start at the highest layer, right? Mm-hmm. And okay, you all know that I'm creating a game, right? And the name of the game is Are You the One for Me? And it's a card game. This is the decoder for the game, right? And so it's a card game. On the front of the card, there's a question that you ask your partner. On the back, there are the psychological cues and clues to listen to know what to interpret in their words. So this is the decoder that you put on the back of the card. So the back of the card has it's encoded in, so you can't, the average person can't see it. You need the decoder to be able to read through it, right? And the reason why I created this game is because women were coming to me and they were like, well, Tanya, I thought I had a good guy. I thought I asked the right questions, but apparently I didn't. And then they end up in a situation that they can't get out of now. Now they've believed the words of a person because they weren't really able to interpret what it is that he was really, really saying between the lines to help them figure out whether or not this man is BSing, whether or not he has something else up their sleeve. And, it's like there's so many of us Black women, especially, when I life coach women who didn't have fathers. It's like being on a fast and somebody puts some succulent looking food in front of you. You could tell the person, no, don't eat the food, but they've been on this fast and the food is dancing around like, come on and eat me. I'm gonna taste so good. And you're just like, oh, I just want to just put it in my mouth. And then you end up caught up because you never really along the way learned. It's like, it's easy to tell a woman, don't become a baby mama. But what are the things that lead up to her thinking? It's like we hear because I remember when I was young and Little Kim used to rap, and Little Kim used to be like, he's spending on the Bugatti and I got this and the Ferrari. And it's like they say that as the end result, but they don't really tell you how to get there. And then you have this hunk in front of you saying all of these wonderful things. And you think, oh, if I just let him dip in a little bit, I'll get the keys to the kingdom. And you don't know that's not how the game is played. So we need girls we need young women we need foundational information to be bestowed upon young ladies. We need them to be able to learn the stages, learn how to navigate through this world with men, because unfortunately, the game that men are playing and the game women are playing are very different games. And hey,
that's why I like Shera, because in regards to game, because okay, some of them I'm like, whoa, but I mean, Shera's got the Bible for how women can play that game. And I think for a lot of years, I think, women were just trying to be honest and like open and like open-hearted. If I just show him how sweet and I can cook and I can, I'd be so sweet and submissive, he will pick me. That's what we were taught. Just be nice. And they're taught a different set of things. And if the person who is your target is playing by a different set of rules, or they're cheating, then you have to learn, the shortcuts too. How with video games, there's always a shortcut. They don't tell you how.
Yeah.
And so you're playing against somebody else and they know the shortcuts and they win every time. The only way you're going to learn is by figuring out what the shortcut, so you can win too.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, from my standpoint, and I'm not saying this from a judging standpoint, I was that girl that was like, if I just show him how much I love,
That's how you sounded, like you drink powder for a living.
yeah, that was the voice in my head. If I
Oh.
just show him, and I got. I was doing
Mm.
wifey tryouts. Where were you? Where were you when I was doing wifey tryouts? I'm mad that you weren't around. Like, seriously. And so a lot of women felt that way. That if they just do the wifey tryouts, and that's how we ended up getting pregnant. We thought, well, if we just prove everything, we just improve all of this stuff, and then he just won't he won't have any choice but to marry me. And clearly that was not a winning strategy.
Yeah, I think it's important. So listen, right now there are 1,500 people on this broadcast. Share this broadcast now. We've already gone an hour, and you know how I don't like to go over an hour on my channel. So make sure you share the broadcast. And I put the links for the ladies in the description. Pinky has classes. Shera's doing an event soon. I have my book and the game coming out. Somebody said that the game is going to cause a lot of breakups. And there are more people. Listen, everybody that's together is not supposed to be together. So there's different layers and different stages. When Shera was talking about going to the Walmart with the bonnet on and stuff like that. Okay, so there's different stations you need to stop at, right? My station, you learn about self-love, you learn about self-worth, you learn about boundaries, setting boundaries, not settling for less as a facet of loving yourself through this action and this relationship, right? Then you want the etiquette classes and the pinkies up. You'll go to Pink Pill and you learn about what will they learn, Pinky?
Well, I'm all about teaching Black women to increase their social capital. We need that because we need to build alliances with powerful people who can do things for us.
Yes.
And we need to learn how to do that. And quite frankly, most of us are new to this. And this is me learning. This was me learning all of this because I got thrust into it and never expected it. My parents were from Texas. My father was a sharecropper's son. There was a lot. I used to think hors d'oeuvres was pronounced hors d'oeuvres. I would read hors d'oeuvres. So it's like, I don't come from a place of superiority. It's like, right, I've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. For those of you who are new, if you go to getpinkpill.com, you can learn more about me and my journey and see what I'm about.
Okay. And then I just want to address this real quick. If you Google search what the average Black man makes in a year, you'll see as of 2009, it's 23,000. Since then, it has been updated according to the Labor Bureau and Census that Black men are now making 41,000 a year on average. So that's nice, isn't it? It's going up. All right. So I just wanted to correct that stat because it seems like there's more new information. So Pinky.
So I mean, is this when we say Hercules? I mean,
no, I don't think it's where we say Hercules. I think it's where we say, well, that's good, but that's it.
Right. So then after they leave Pink Pill and they come over to Shera, what will they learn on your platform, Shera?
How to leave their house. Okay. You don't leave your house looking any type of way unless you want to be judged, because we are judged on our appearance, because that's the first thing people will observe, what you look like. Okay. So I feel that a lot of people suffer from lower self-esteem because of how they're treated or how they're ignored or how they're perceived. And so they internalize a lot of that because they didn't take a lot of effort and time before they left their home. And so the world that they go out into is a totally different world that, let's say, a leveled up woman will go out into. One will have a pleasant day, one will have a bad day because of how they're treated based on their appearance. I know it's politically incorrect, but that's the world we live in. And men will tell you, Black men, white men, any man, you have to look a certain way in order for them to even have interest in you, even want to spend money on you, or just even open a door for you. I always tell women, when you're behind, when you're walking in behind someone, or no, when you're walking in front of someone, if you look good, they will run ahead of you just to open the door. But if you look bad, they will slow down to avoid contact with you.
That's how they doing it out there. That's how they doing it.
Well, I agree. I think, and also, Shera, I just want to add to that, your clothes also affect your mood. Like, it's not just superficial, it is a psychological thing. If you dress well, if you're dressing for your body type, if your hair looks nice, if your makeup looks nice, think about when you go outside and you have on sweats, a dirty sweatshirt, and a hat. How do you feel? How do you feel? And what kind of energy do you think you're putting out there? So it absolutely affects your psychology, the way that you look and the way you present and show up into the world. So it's not just how people treat you, but it's it's your attitude and the energy you give out when you know that you're looking good.
I'm still working on that. Because I feel like Queen of Sheba no matter what I have on.
That's the internal. That's the part, because that's the part that's going to make the other part shine. Like, someone could be very beautiful and walk around very insecure, and nobody will feel their true beauty, even if they're covered in wigs and makeup. It just, there are beautiful women that are very insecure that are on my channel, and they say, well, how do you have this confidence and da 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 da? Because I just have it inside, and then the outside is a reflection of the inside. Or I look fine plain Jane, like that Nicki Minaj troll song says, bust down a plain Jane, I got options. So we have options to be plain, we have options to do a little bit extra. And so if you want to be treated a little bit extra, do a little bit extra. If you want to
test it. I mean, see how people treat you when you go out with your dirty sweats on, and see how people treat you when you look like a pinup girl. I mean, I've done it. I've actually done that experiment.
Mm-hmm. And Tanya, combining two into one is, double the attention, double the money.
Listen, I feel you. Listen, I said I'm still working on it because listen, you all know, because I wear a uniform in my videos. I have several of the same dresses, and I wear the same one because I don't want the focus to be on my clothes. Often I'll make videos without makeup on because I don't want the focus to be on my face or what they want to say about my eyeshadow or whatever. Like, I was in the comments on that video that you did with that man, and there were so many people talking about how this man looked. And I'm like, listen to what this man is saying. Like, listen to the content of what it is that he's saying. Right. And so I understand the concept, and I'm working on that myself. But I don't know. I feel like I can't even articulate it. I feel like that a lot of us are trapped in these vortices of the external, where we are putting all of this emphasis on what it is that a person is presenting as. And this is how people end up getting fooled from seeing some man who got something off the rack and then up with some candle, barely lighting his face, sitting back in lurches, in all his feminine non-glory, and start telling other people about themselves because they see what they perceive as being the outward signs of wealth or whatever, and we start giving credence to that stuff. So it's like when I like, so I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. It's like when I have my meetings and stuff, I don't dress up to go to the meetings. It's the other people who dress up to come to my meetings. I sit back and they come forward. And so I'm of a completely different mindset. And I just think it's embarrassing for the people who do only, if they are only able to listen to the cues on the, or look at the cues on the outside. And so like Shera was saying, it takes a combination of both, right? However, I learned a long time ago that the wealthiest person in the room is not the one that is dressed in Dior and Chauffeur. They're not dressed like that. They are dressed they're in the cut, wearing a baseball cap, a t-shirt, and some jeans, and they are controlling everything around what it is that you see. So like when you go to the nightclub, you want to know who the owner of the nightclub is. It's not the person with the bottles popping all around them and the shiny suit and all of that. Just take a look in the cut and see the person who has confidence, who is sweeping the floor. That's the owner right there.
But that's not a woman, though. It's a
I
man.
think that's what I was just going to say, that men have that privilege to do that. Women, if they are the most powerful in the room, study how they dress. I mean, you even look at like Nancy Pelosi. I know people don't like her, but I mean, people don't like her, but her makeup is always perfect. Her hair is always perfect. She dresses it so elegantly. Like, she is always ready for the camera. So that's a privilege that is extended to, say, like the CEO of Amazon. Yeah, he doesn't need to show up in a suit. But like, say if the CEO of Amazon was a woman, how do you think? I mean, we have things, people already have trouble taking women with power seriously. And so that is something that is afforded, I think. Women have pretty privilege. Men have the power to look like, who's that guy? The guy who's in jail that looks like, I don't know. He looks like somebody chewed up some paper and spit it out. Harvey Weinstein. He's the ugliest man. But he can be ugly because he was so popular. I mean, he was so powerful. Women, that is not something I feel like in general women have the privilege of doing.
Right.
And you know what? And listen, the people in the comments are commenting such, and I hear you ladies. I just not in the mood to play the game, and I don't play the game.
And you know what really tames a man? Because a lot of men don't want to feel emasculated or over talked to by a woman. Your beauty will humble them. Your together look, your outfit, your hair, your perfume, your makeup will have them not saying what they really want to say, because they don't want to look like they're attacking the little feminine, pretty wearing a pink dress woman, because then they look like the bad guy. So if you're a woman and you're, talking to a man and they're, talking down to you or cussing you out, it's because they don't feel as if they're, looking like the big bad wolf. But if you're like, they're not gonna embarrass themselves like that in public most of the time. I'm not gonna say all of them, because of the way you look. So it's a strategy move on some parts. It gets people in line quick and buttons their mouth sometimes, because they will look stupid, because then people will say, oh, well, you just probably are mad because you can't get with her. And so there's a lot of things that surround, why women need to look good, because there's strategy and there's power in that if you look at it from different perspectives.
Listen, I hear you. I hear both of you ladies, and both of you ladies are very beautiful young women, and both of you ladies come out and are all dolled up, and the people love it and all that other stuff. I don't personally find empowerment in people sizing up my beautiful looks. I don't find empowerment in that. It makes me feel deflated. And I don't know if it's because I've always been intelligent, because I've gone to preparatory schools, and people have always, there's always been this fight, or what's on the outside, or what it is that you have to say. And I don't find empowerment in people being like, oh, my God, Tanya, look at you. I just don't find empowerment in that. I don't. And I guess I need to find some sort of middle ground. Yeah. And I do try sometimes, but that's not my bag.
Well, I
not
mean,
my
if it's working for you, I mean,
Yeah.
you do what's working for you. People don't change unless unless their situation gets uncomfortable. So if you are comfortable in where you are, then there's no need to change. Now, if you want something different and that desire, starts to make you feel uncomfortable, then, maybe it's time to consider something different. People don't change unless they feel uncomfortable. And if you're comfortable with where you are, hun, we love you.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally up to you or the individual as to what their strategy is. Like, if your strategy is different from my strategy, then that's perfectly understandable. But I know what my strategy is, so
Yeah,
that's
no, listen, I feel you. I feel you. Listen, I feel both of you. I feel both of you. I just don't know what it's going to take for me to get there. You know what I mean? I just don't know what it's going to take for me to I don't want to say care.
I also think what I also think it's about. I
What?
I think it's a form of rebellion almost, to where people don't want, or anybody, not just you in particular, but anybody doesn't want to change to be able to please or strategize or fit in. That's human nature. But when you see the rewards that you can reap, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that's what motivates you. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't need those rewards, or if you're not seeking those rewards, then there's not much motivation in that department. So there's not much reason to, change. But there are other people that are seeking out different things. And so that's their motivation.
Yeah. And you know what? And we talked about this a little bit on your broadcast, the last time I came on your page.
Mhm.
And we talked about, gold digging and dressing up for gold digging and the accoutrements to alleviate a man of his money,
Mhm.
right? And so yes, of course, I understand, and I know what it is that I need to do and present as if I'm going out there on that particular type of prowl, right? However, and maybe a part of it for me is a rebellion, is rebelliousness, where I'm like, I'm not going to attempt to fit into this particular mold because of I don't know if it's the vanilla version of respectability politics. Like, I will treat you as if you have worth if you present a certain type of beauty. I think it's a shame that we live in a society that demands beauty of women, and that beauty is our currency, so much so that if a woman doesn't have beauty, that there are people that are like, what's wrong with you? Why won't you give me your beauty? And if they're like, some women just really just the at the very most of what it is that they have to present outward is not going to be at the level at which society is going to consider mainstream beautiful. And people this is part of the reason. And listen, I hear this is part of the reason that the woman who made the Me Too movement, that people just absconded the movement from her because people found her difficult to look at. This is part of the reason that Rosa Parks was the one, a light-skinned woman was the one who was used as the face of the "I'm going to sit down on the bus" movement, when there were darker-skinned women that refused to stand up on the bus, that they didn't use because they knew that the lighter skin was more marketable for the movement. And so it's like, I resent living in a time where the patriarchy has such a grip on us, that people that we're mentioning royalty and Nancy Pelosi and all of these women that have to be in this prison of prettiness.
I like being pretty though. I
I do.
do. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's what I'm saying. Like, it's a
Really,
hobby for me. Like,
as your camera is not on.
well, and let me tell you why my camera is not on. Because there's a certain level and standard that I have of myself and respect for my audience, that if I don't look the part, I'm not going to show up that way.
That sounds like a prison to me.
But here's the thing. it doesn't seem like it's not that way to me. To me, it's like the way you present is and the way you show up, and this is also part of etiquette. The way that you appear is showing respect for people. So just like if you were to go to a church and you know it was like old school church where people dressed up, and you showed up with cut off t-shirts and a ripped, like cut off shorts and a ripped shirt, that's not respectful to the people around you. Like, so
I'm sorry, but there's a difference between putting yourself in clothing that doesn't fit the environment, right? And being yourself. Because just because a woman doesn't have eyebrows on or eyeshadow or lip gloss doesn't mean that there's something wrong with her, so that it's disrespectful for her to show herself to people.
Well, I mean, you're talking about in my case, and Shera as well. There's a certain level of expectation that I have a brand, and I am trying to teach a certain standard. And so my prison is that the things that I expect of myself is what I expect for my followers to present to the world. So if I'm not with the standard that I'm trying to present, this is my brand. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if today is wash day and my hair is all over the place and I have on my Loyola Marymount sweatshirt on, and I don't have time to do that, that's off brand for me. So I think we're talking about two different things.
Mm-hmm. And that goes to, like, if someone was very intelligent, like Tanya's very intelligent. If someone was very intelligent and, they showed up without being able to articulate themselves or speak, and they just had to represent themselves by just their presence, you know what I mean? That's what I feel like Tanya is saying. She's saying she's too smart to have to be in a prison of makeup, wigs, and da 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 da. And I understand that if you hold your value elsewhere besides, looking a certain way, then that's what you're going to represent, and that's the message that she wants to give. And our message is not the same message. Like, her message is self-love. So if you're going to love yourself, you need to love yourself like you look already, with nothing extra added. Okay. I think it's like a cake, the icing and all the extra decorations is not what really makes the cake. It's the ingredient, how you cook it, what you put inside of it. But the icing on the cake is just what makes people say, "Ooh, that looks good." Because you can't think a cake looks a certain way because all cake is a basic cake, right? So the icing is what draws in the attention in order to make you interested in what this cake may taste like. But at the end of the day, people are still going to eat the cake whether it has icing or not. But I don't know if they will be as many drawn to it.
Right. Well, I mean, I can flip this argument. And Tanya, I see your point of view. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. What essentially I hear you saying is that women should not feel that they should be imprisoned by certain beauty standards, because for women, beauty is currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So flip it.
It's a faux currency.
So flip it to the men then. What is a man's currency? A man's currency is money and power. And so you have men who say, "Well, why I gotta make $100,000 a year? Why I gotta go to work? Why can't you just accept me how I am?"
That's true.
And what do we say?
So hold on.
I thought you were going to get a wig, Tanya. I was telling people
like I did on that broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Okay. So I haven't read Shera's book, but the title of it is I Bring Nothing to the Table. What is a woman's currency? Is it her companionship? Is it her womb? Is it her ability to turn a house into a home? Is it the amount of mascara she could put on top of her eyelashes? Is it her presence as woman in that house? Is it her ability with her feminine energy to be able to is it that? What is it? What is a woman's true currency? Is it only her? Is it her beauty? Is it mainly her beauty? Is a man only going to protect and provide if you're beautiful, so that if goodness forbid you step on the third rail of a train track and you lose one of your legs, then all of a sudden that's it for you?
Pretty much, most men leave their yeah.
Make sure you have a lot of girlfriends.
When they get sick, they can't do that no more. They can't look. They go bald because they got cancer or on chemo. Most of the time,
I mean, just look at B. Simone. Wait, isn't it B. Simone? Isn't that woman who just died, who passed away? Look at how he did her.
Yeah.
Look at how he did her when she was no longer of use to him.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is part of the reason that I rebel against that system. Because the moment despite the fact that B. Simone, and you're right, that situation was ugly.
B. Smith, sorry, B. Smith.
Oh,
sorry.
B. Smith, yes. That situation was ugly, atrocious, and it was embarrassing that all the years that she gave him, and then the moment that she became sick, he couldn't moved another woman into the house.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Men are visual creatures and they're physical creatures by nature. So they're not going to see like women see. They're not going to see, oh, this person is beautiful from within, unless they've had every beautiful woman and they don't care anymore. But the majority of men are visual creatures and physical creatures. So that's what they respond to. That's what gets them going. That's why a lot of men value the beauty, or the aesthetic. I'll say the aesthetic beauty in a woman, because they want her to represent him. They want, when she walks into a room, for everybody to think he's successful because of his beautiful woman. Not, oh, I wonder why he's with her. Does she really have the money? This is how people think, and it's not politically correct, but it's just the truth. If you see an average woman with a handsome man or a rich man, you're going to say, oh, she must have family wealth, or he must have a mistress. They'll never give her any type of credit as to why she's there. Even the president has a model as a wife, and she does not have to do much as a first lady, and she hasn't been getting
Oh my God,
much flack as Michelle Obama did.
Well,
and here's the thing, Michelle Obama is. I'm glad you mentioned that, because Barack Obama has the privilege to like go out and wear a hat, wear sweats and like whatever, look just very casual. But whenever you saw Michelle Obama, when she was presenting, she always looked and presented a certain way. And so, I mean, that's a prison, but I mean, like, that is an example. And she was on the
and as much as Michelle Obama tried, they still called her all types of monkey and man.
Okay, but what I'm saying, but she's still, yes, there were people who said that, but if you look at the like the polls or whatever, Michelle Obama is one of the most loved first ladies of all time. And Donald Trump was just complaining because Melania didn't get any covers. So with Michelle Obama's beauty and brains, she was on 12 covers. Look at how far she was able to go. Look at what she was able to influence, because she knew how to leverage both her brain and her beauty.
Yeah. I remember when she first came out, she didn't have her glam team. And so she's looking the best she could do herself. And then Oprah sent her glam team to Michelle Obama, or at least her hairstylist, and I guess, I don't know about the makeup artist, to level up Michelle Obama for the election. because she did not look the part of what they wanted to be represented as. If you're going to be the first lady of the United States, you have to represent. So that's why Oprah sent her that glam team, because she was like, I'm sorry, but here go my glam team. Represent us.
Right. And you know what? And this is my statement, right, about it. Yes, of course. If there are going to be events that you want to glam it up and stuff like that, but I think that we as women, we have to stop participating in this imprisonment so that we think that we can't show our natural face without it being disrespectful to our audience or a level down for us. How is your natural face a level down?
Oh, I'm not ashamed of my natural face.
Okay. I'll show mine while I'm putting on the makeup.
Yeah. I mean, my audience has seen me without makeup. That's
Okay.
not what we're discussing here. No.
Okay.
But see, that's why I'm saying, like, I have a beauty channel where I come on barefaced, no wig, and I do the transformation right in front of the camera so that, people can see what I'm doing. But I don't have a problem going barefaced on YouTube. It's just that, the channel that I have is about leveling up. So I have to come on leveled up. Got to be what I'm about
Right.
on that channel.
I mean, it's like, so, I mean, this is a reality. Just as we expect men to have a certain, their currency is success and power. We have a currency too. So how is it? I mean, I don't want to belabor the point, but if we are expecting men to reach a certain standard and expectation of them by, being men, protecting, providing, and producing, then, are there no standards of expectations that they should have for us?
Yes, however, I guess it depends on what it is that we are saying a woman's true currency is, and what place she has in this relationship besides being arm candy. What is it beyond the look or the aesthetic or the outward appearance? What is it that that particular woman brings into the relationship? What is it that she brings into the union? How does she enhance this man's life outside of how pretty she is? Remember when you were talking to Jordan and you were talking about, whether or not a wealthy man would be with a quote unquote average woman. And you asked him, well, what about the woman who's just sitting by looking pretty? And Jordan, the millionaire that you brought forward as an example, said, I don't know any man who is really truly wealthy, who has, sense, who just wants a woman to sit by looking pretty. That he says that the money that he's been able to make because he's with his wife, not because his wife is a supermodel or an Instagram baddie or none of that, but because his wife has a certain set of skills and presence that she brings into the relationship that from her feminine essence inspires him to make more money. The ways that she contributes to his business and his money-making facets. So what is a woman's currency? I guess that's the question, because if a woman's currency is just what's on the outside, then that's, yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. And nobody's arguing that. There is a term called necessary but not sufficient. So I don't think Shera, and I know I don't, because I'm smart. I'm smart, but I also like to look pretty. And so for what he did say is that there's a certain level of, okay, is she pretty or attractive to me?
Exactly.
That's necessary, right? But it's not sufficient. So there had to be a bar of, I find her attractive, but she is not just a attractive bubblehead. Necessary, but not sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have to dumb myself down sometimes to be taken seriously.
Well, hold on. What? Say that again. Repeat.
I have to dumb myself down a lot because people don't think the two go together. And when the two come together, beauty and brains, then they're intimidating. You know,
Yes.
they become intimidated that you're smart and beautiful and you really don't need them. And so men like to feel needed. And so if you have this pretty woman who looks like, got all the bells and whistles that needs you, it makes you feel more masculine and powerful. And you may not have that in your life in other areas. So that's what the woman brings to the table. The ability to give you a sense of true masculinity and power within yourself so you can go out into the world and conquer it. But if you
Yeah.
have someone at home that makes you feel that way, then you go out into the world feeling, looking for that in other things, and you may not receive it. But if you got a good woman
Hmm.
at home and she's like, big, strong man, I need you, that's what you feel inside as a man. So it's very
Okay.
important to some men to have an aesthetically pleasing woman for that reason in particular.
Okay. Well, you know what? Listen, I talked about this in one of my broadcasts recently about an associate of mine who was where it is that he was financially. And I am abundant. Money flows to me with ease, right? And it became difficult to talk to him about the moves that I was making because he was like, "Oh, that's all well and good for you because you have all of this money, blah blah blah." And so the conversations were had to be truncated into an area that was comfortable to his level. And I had to say to him, why is it that I have to shrink down for you to feel comfortable instead of the urge or the motivation, or I can't think the I can't think of the word, but why is it that you don't feel this need inside of yourself to raise yourself up so that I don't have to make myself small in your presence? Why don't you lift up so that I do have something that I can, so that you don't have to feel like, oh, Tanya is too, but why can't you be so that Tanya doesn't, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Because they don't want to compete with you.
Not even compete. It's not even a matter of competition. It's a matter of,
It is to them because they're men.
yeah, but why should a woman have to make herself smaller or act dumber, or why?
Because it's a strategy to get everything you want while boosting someone else's ego. They'll just hand you their whole check.
Well, you know what?
You get your money and their money. That's how abundance flows for real.
Right. However, my question is this, right? My question is not making yourself smaller in front of this man, but finding a man who is here
Mhm.
so that so that you are already, so you do need his help, so that he is more knowledgeable than you, not because you're faking being less smart, but because he is so smart. I'm a sapiosexual, so I'm attracted to men's intelligence. So I'm attracted. So like when I meet a man and we're talking and I can learn things from him and he's had these experiences and he's telling me about his travels to these countries, I'm like, ooh. However, when I'm talking to a man and he's like, oh, I haven't really been many places, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to be like that.
Mhm. Well, I naturally dumb myself. Not I don't naturally do it on purpose, but sometimes when I'm talking to someone that's very smart or very masculine, I naturally, you know, go down a few notches because that's their power.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it, and I'm like, oh yeah, talk dirty to me, But like you said, sapiosexual, like I just want to hear them talk, so I just
Mm-hmm.
ask questions I already know the answer to. That's how I do it. I just want to hear them talk. That's I'm allowing them to impress me. I'm not trying to impress them or, because that's what this is for. Um, but when I respond and I perfectly understand what they're talking about and I can comprehend it without intimidation, that's the key right there. When you can understand what they're talking about, when you can respond intelligently and allow them to lead as well, then that's what they're looking for because they don't have to explain everything to you. They don't have to break it down. You look good. They know you understand what they're saying and they just want to impress you.
Okay, so you know what? I'm glad you said that because it's kind of like the money argument. It's kind of like the money argument. So we have this thing, right, where we're like, okay, well, why don't you just make more money, right? Why don't you just find a man who has more money who could do the things so that you don't have to. So like if you make a certain amount of money, why don't you just find a man who makes more money? So then rather than dumbing ourselves down, why don't we just find a man who's smarter? Why don't we just do that?
Well, a lot of times men who are smarter, or, they're not smart in every area. So you may be smarter in one area that they're not. And sometimes when that happens and you're in a conversation, you can feel their heart sink. And so I feel it when I talk to people and that don't know about certain things, but they were an expert 2 seconds ago. You can hear their heart sink as soon as you have one up on them, because it is a competition. They want to impress you so bad that if you are one idea or one, iota in something, they feel like all that work just went down the drain. So they'll either lie or make up something or pretend like they know what you're talking about. But I feel it, and I think they just want us to be impressed by them. They want to shine and show off in front of us, and we just have to be like, and that's what they want. And it's fun too, because you see how motivated it gets them. And then, the next day you come home, you have something, some flowers up there, you have, some candy or whatever, you have, here's some, something shipped to your door, and that's what they want. They need that. They need that because they don't get it anywhere else.
Right. No, I feel you.
Well,
Pinky.
I just want to say one thing too, is that there are levels to this. I don't think that this needs to be binary, Tanya. I don't think you need to walk away thinking that you have to be absolutely on point, looking like, that you're getting ready to do a photo shoot every day, or, just not caring at all. Like this is, there is not, it's not black or white, right? And not every woman is going to, not want to go outside of the house without her hair looking a certain way and her eyelashes on, or whatever. But I don't think that this argument needs to be black or white. It doesn't need to be like, oh, well, if I make myself up all the time, then I'm like submitting to the patriarchy that's like putting women in their place. I don't think there needs to be a either or situation. I think that there are shades of gray in it. And I think that we will, I think that we will get farther if it's not an absolute, like you either have to be Barbie or you have to be like Janine Garofalo.
Okay. Or is Janine Garofalo, is she, what is she? An armpit hair lesbian? What are we talking about? Let me Google.
She's just very like, grunge looking. She was in the late 90s movie.
Yeah.
It's like very grunge looking, like, roll out the bed and I'm good type of look. But she was still pretty in her own way.
She was.
I thought she was pretty in her own way. I don't know. But I think it's how you strategize your life. That
I'm just looking at pictures of Janine Garofalo, and she looked like an ordinary person to me.
I didn't think she.
Well, I mean, but her shtick, her brand was, I'm not trying to look pretty for you.
Right.
Got you.
I mean, I'm not talking about when she was posing for the camera I'm talking about when she presented, when she was in her movies, when she was doing her stand-up comedy. There was her uniform was, I'm not trying to look pretty for y'all.
Okay.
Just like we like to feel beautiful and loved, the same thing men like to feel needed and masculine and powerful. So if we want them to be all about, about making me feel good, or, emotional and responding to our emotions and stuff, we got to respond to their need for, approval and masculinity and things like that. So it's a give and take. So we know what they want, they know what we want. And they're more likely to give it to us if we give them what they want. And it's not about sex or anything. It's about how we make them feel when they are around us. If they feel good when they're around us, they want to be around us more. They feel bad when they're around us. If they feel like they're in competition when they're around us, if they feel like they're being emasculated around us, they don't want to be around us. So if you make them feel good to be around you, just when they're on their way home or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, I know when I walk in, my house is going to be peaceful. There's nobody going to be saying this and that. When I tell her about my day, there's not going to be any corrections or, you should have did A, B, C, and D instead. You know, I can shine at home. So that's why I feel that it's not a competition and it's not putting yourself lower. It's allowing someone to shine for 2 seconds, like we're doing in the video. You let me talk, then Pink Pill talks, and then you talk. It's just like that. But we like different things, so we have to cater to each other's different ways of thinking with respect. That way, we all feel comfortable to be here together, and teaching and showing other people, a lot of different opinions.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Pink Pill?
I think I've said a lot actually, but I concur. I don't. Yeah, I see. I want you to know that I hear you and I hear what you are saying. You also have something that I think a lot of women in general seem to be trying to recapture, and that is a natural feminine essence. And so you are gifted in that way, whether you have, your full makeup on or not. And many women are struggling to find their way through that. And so, there may be an element to the fact that you get preferential treatment because of what you exude as a feminine woman that maybe other women are sort of struggling to try to emulate or rediscover or what have you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I respect both of you women, and I think both of you women are very intelligent and very good at what it is that you do. And the reason why we're able to have this conversation is because I respect your point of view and I am open to absorb how it is that you all think so that I can explore how that measures up to my own thinking and see where there's an area for the gray there. I would love for you to explain more of the gray area, Pinky. Just so people want to open the phone lines. They're ready to call in.
It's not like you have to. Nobody's saying, Tanya, that you have to have a glam squad. There's a gradients to what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel pretty. A lot of what the accoutrement that women use to beautify themselves, it is not just a one-way thing where you're trying to appear a certain way. It also evokes feelings of confidence and looking pretty and feeling a certain way and just evoking the emotions that we want to exude to the world. So there's a two-way thing. Women want, most women want to look pretty, and that's going to look different for everybody. And that's what I say, that there's gray areas. It's not,
well, you know what? I believe in that. We're at 1 hour, 48 minutes, and we have to get out of here before 2 hours. I agree. So if you hear me cutting off, it's only in the interest of time. So I appreciate you expounding upon that. And just to sum up my feeling on it, because we completely switched the topic. This video would have to be cut into 2 different pieces where we talk about men and then we start talking about the prison of pretty. And I would love to dive into a full discussion on the prison of pretty. And my issue is that pretty, like Shera was saying, can be like the icing on the cake, but it should not have to be what is demanded for the cake. If you want to doll up a cake, That's fine. But a person shouldn't have to feel as if they can't go outside, can't show their face, can't be presentable, don't deserve respect, won't get treated right, won't feel whole if they don't have these things on. And I know so many women, this is part of the reason that I closed my very successful skincare business. And it's because there were people who were calling up in tears because they had skin issues that they felt that once the skin issues heal, that then they would feel good about themselves. But feeling good about yourself comes in the middle of having skin issues. And so it's not, to me, it's not about the outside. And I'm not telling anybody to be ugly or to be basic. What I'm saying is be your brand of beautiful, and don't feel as if you have to adorn yourself in any way that you do not want to adorn yourself for the sake of other people's pleasure or happiness. That even a man, and I'm just saying that from my whole entire soul.
Right. But I don't feel it's a prison. I believe that like
Yeah, it's fun for me.
like some people like to cook,
I
but
like it.
cooking is a prison. You know,
I mean, and if it's, and that's what I'm saying, it has to be what it is for you. Like, you know, I don't think that there should be a standard of expectation that every woman abides to. But you know, I have certain bare minimum things that I expect. And the fact of the matter is that we're in a business, like, this is the media. You know, it's like, do newscasters, do they start discussing the news without their makeup on, or they just like, what, you know, their t-shirt? No, there's a certain presentation and expectation that when you are broadcasting yourself to potentially millions of people, there's a certain expectation that people have. You know, if I were a newscaster, I wouldn't be complaining that, why I gotta wear this makeup? Why I gotta wear this? Why I gotta wear this outfit?
And I think that that's part of the prison of pretty in a patriarchy, because there are women who on Fox News, you can't wear pants. You have to sit there in a skirt with your legs shown. And you have to do this, you have to do that. And I think that I'm tired of these impositions on women. When I was traveling through the Middle East and all of the rules and regulations that they have for women out there. And I'm just tired of, by virtue of my gender, being stuck into this particular box that other people say. I just don't like it.
You're not, though.
That's why
you're not
gender neutral, because they don't want to conform to either or, you know, this gender or that gender. And whether we like it or not, as time progresses, you know, people are going to associate this gender with these certain things and this gender with these certain things. So I think that's why a lot of people choose to go gender neutral, so they're not expected to be all made up or dolled up or, you know, just very masculine, but they're somewhere in the middle. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they rather be gender neutral as far as the expectations of what other people expect them to look like, and not has nothing to do with their, you know, sexuality. It's just they don't want to conform to the feminine or the masculine in the eyes of society. And I feel that that is what a lot of women have actually become. They don't want to be categorized, so they just become gender neutral.
What? Gender neutral?
Well, I mean, when you were saying that, Shera, the person who came to mind for me for that was Rachel Maddow. Because I was just thinking about Rachel Maddow is the top-rated newscaster on MSNBC. And, you know, she's very much, you know, not into you know, feeding into certain patriarchal standards, but she still has a look, you know, she still has a polish. You know what I'm saying? Like, she still has a look.
It's androgyny, and
and it looks good
in both. That's why you see all these, like, the most famous music artists are androgynous, because it brings in both the masculine and the feminine. Men like them, women like them, you know, kids like them. So it's because they look both the parts. So androgynous attention just as
somebody
much.
says, well, isn't Rachel Maddow gay? Yes, she is, but just because somebody is gay doesn't mean that they want to look like a man.
Well, you know what? And so Rachel Maddow, it's funny that you mention her because Rachel Maddow is pretty. Yes, she's pretty and they doll her up on TV. And I saw when she did that broadcast when her girlfriend or her wife had gotten COVID and she thought that she was going to die. And she was broadcasting from some part of her house. I don't know if you all saw that video. She was like, look, I'm not really a makeup person. They put makeup on me in the studio. I don't have those things and I don't know how to do it myself. And she did a video with no makeup on. And when it was a very real and very raw video. And I'm sorry, I apologize if what it is that I said got the conversation off track. And I don't know if people out there feel as if they're learning anything. If you feel that you're learning anything from this broadcast, put up 4. If you feel like you are learning nothing, put up 5, right? And so she did a really real and very raw, touching video from her home. And I almost cried when I saw the video because she was talking about how much she loved this woman and how this woman was the sun in her universe, right? And and my whole point is that I don't want us women to be in a prison where we feel like we cannot navigate in this world without having to fit into some sort of box. Because, you know, for ladies like us, you know, there's an ease to it because we already have a certain amount of beauty. However, every woman is like, her beauty is not owed to the world. So much so that we have made people more so comfortable with demanding beauty of women that we have these predatory magazine articles and broadcasts that dissect what a woman had on and what she's wearing and how she looked and this expectation and why won't you be pretty and look, you're old, you've hit the wall. When just naturally living, like our existence is just offensive unless we are giving people what it is that they demand of us, even if we don't want to give it. That's the prison that I'm talking about.
In our youth, we're expected to look beautiful. When we get old, nobody care what we look like. So that's just like, you know, when you have it, you need to flaunt it because you're gonna lose it. When you get old, if you're not in that plastic surgery office getting that consultation or whatnot, you're gonna lose it, and then you may wish you had done a little extra. When your grandkids or if you have relatives, I wonder what you look like when you were young. If all you have pictures of you look like nothing spectacular, they're gonna be like, oh, so they want to see what you did. They want to see how you slayed the world. They want to see how good grandma looked back in the day. They want to see all that because all they see is, little old ladies shriveled up with wrinkles now.
And why is it that we can't find beauty in the wrinkles?
I mean, they can, but it's a different type of beauty.
Okay.
It's a different type of beauty. It's a regal, matronly beauty. And that's beautiful too. But you should have seen what she looked like back in the day, like Felicia Rashad. People will post her picture up for Woman Crush Wednesday or something from back in the day. And she's in her 60s or 70s now. She's still trying to look good, but she's still a beautiful woman. But a lot of people put those younger pictures up to where she was like, "Dang, there she goes."
Yeah, and how you've fallen downhill from there.
That is our wealth. Our beauty is our wealth. And when we don't use it, we'll get older and we're like, I wish I would have tried at least to look a certain way. And so that, they know grandma, wouldn't have bought, no dusties or whatnot. So, I just think it's what you want to leave as your legacy, what you want to be remembered for, how you want to represent to your, family, and also how you want to be remembered. Like when somebody died on the front of the funeral program, they don't put their bad picture or their old picture. They put that young, good-looking picture up there. They don't go scraggling around for the bear picture, they get that young one, or she
I just want to let them find a picture of me just chilling, no makeup on the beach with the wind blowing on my skin, sun shining on my face, living free. Use that picture and dress yourself in white, bring out the drums and tambourine, and have a good time with me.
And even in the funeral home, they put makeup on you. You know?
Let them not put nothing on me. Let them put some coconut oil on my face and say, come look pan shit. And just look at me in all my radiant black glory laying there because I lived a good life.
They got special lights to shine on you.
I don't need all of that. So listen, ladies, we have come to the 2-hour mark. There are people that do want to call in. But you know how I feel about long videos. So what do you ladies want to do? What do you want to do?
I can stick around for maybe a half hour more.
Okay.
You're the same. It doesn't bother me. You know, I'll go forever.
I'm going to just go away for about a minute because I do have to visit the ladies' room. So excuse me, but I will be right back.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know what? Listen. I'm tempted to start a new broadcast because we veered from the topic. So if we do a call-in on this broadcast, then we're going to be doing a call-in on the original topic was about Black men and white women. So what I'm going to do is, so there's 1,800 people on here. Go ahead and thumbs up. I want you all, so right now it's 7:37, right? Eastern Standard Time. So why don't we do this? Indigo Kid, that topic is gone. That topic is gone. We're going to do a call-in on the prison of Pretty. That's what we're going to do a call-in on. That's what people seem that they want to talk about. So, all right. New broadcast or continue on this broadcast? New broadcast or continue? If we should do a new broadcast, put up 6. If we should continue on this broadcast, put up 7. I'll let you all call in. Calm down.
I mean, can we just stay on this and then you chop it up later? And because pretty much you have a halfway mark, a clear delineation of subject matter,
or
right?
Add to the title.
Yeah. Or change it. Or if you split it, I mean, there's clearly a delineation in the subjects.
Okay, but you also know long videos are hard on the YouTube algorithm. So it's kind of half and half. But since you ladies are saying you want to stay on this, then we'll just stay on this broadcast then.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, YouTube is hard. It becomes more difficult for YouTube to, and then also watch time. If you have a video where people are not watching, so you get penalized for people dropping off of the video. So when you put up a long video, like a person could watch 18 minutes of an hour video, and that would be like, if a person watched 18 minutes of a 20-minute video, you'd be on the good side of the algorithm. If a person watches 18 minutes of an hour video, then it makes it seem like, so the ratio. So, that's how YouTube judges you on the ratio. So we'll take a few phone calls because I don't want to.
We're always judge on something, aren't we? Just always judge.
Exactly. Exactly. And you see and there's a lot of people who are calling for a new broadcast. So it's like the numbers are split. It was 6 at first, and then now a lot of people are putting up to 7. So
you know why they like long videos on my channel? Because they put on their makeup and doing their hair while they listen to it.
I think 2 hours is enough time to be able to get your makeup on.
Yeah.
People are asking for an intermission. So ladies, can we come back and do a call-in?
Yeah, but I can't stay on for very long. But yeah, I can stay for a little bit.
Half an hour is fine. We could just take a few 5-minute phone calls. All right. So listen, we're going to have an intermission. Right now it's 7:40. So we're going to give you a 5-minute intermission and then come back at 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central, and 3:45. Is it 3 or 4:45? 4:45.
It'll be 4:45.
All right, 4:45 Pacific time. All right. So just go ahead, get yourself some sips, go use the bathroom, go put your food in the microwave, and then come back in 5 minutes. All right. And we're going to be talking about the prison of Pretty. And some of you say it's not a prison, but I'd like to discuss all facets of it. All right.
Okay.
All right. See you all in just a moment. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you all in just a moment. Thank you, ladies. And thank you all for coming out and stopping by. Like I said, just refresh this. We're going to be coming right back. I'm going to go get myself some drink. I appreciate all of you coming out. Go ahead and thumbs up the video, share the video. We got into a very deep topic that we weren't planning on getting into, but you know, it's like this when you have a meeting of the minds. And if there's anything that I hope that anyone could gain from this conversation is to not be afraid to express how it is that you feel and be open to shifting your point of view, because I was very honest in this video about how I feel. And as a result, you know, I was able to really dive into how other people feel and get a sense for how different the world is, and pros and cons and gray area and all of that. So I will see you all in the next video, and we're going to have the phone lines open, so get ready. And I am going to have the Cash App on, so that's going to be down at the bottom. And I will see you all in the next video. I love you all so much. Thank you for having the grace to stay with us during these very difficult conversations, and I can't wait to hear from you all in the next video. All right, peace.